jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out that more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports,
Yeah, big shout out to the hottest chat in the MF and game. A-side official, no negotiation needed, period. We back with another one. Salute to those of you that's in the chat. You already know Carlos Rosado on deck. What it do, Carlos? Haynes Legacy, my guy in the building. What it do, Haynes? May all is well. God bless always. You already know. BG Bug Unstop Canelo. What's good? What's good with it? Hey, I was already scheduled, right? And I ended up getting in there late. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know BMAC was going live. I'd already scheduled because I ain't been live all freaking day. And I don't think I went live yesterday. But I didn't even see him come across the timeline. I just happened to click on YouTube. He was live, so I dropped in. But I definitely wanted to get this out the way because I may not have time tomorrow to do it. Yeah. Tyrese on deck. What's good? What's good? Yeah, I didn't see it till late. If you go back, well, you can't go back. I'd already scheduled, and then it was doing his intro. It's not going to be extremely long. But shout out to B-Mac. Good to see him back on the air. I just talked to him not too long ago on the phone. But let's get down to it, man. As we all know, every time we come on this joint, man, it's multiple topics that's out there. Some of the topics I can't, it's only it's a character limit that you can put in the description, right? So let me start with, Jaron Ennis, of course. Jaron Ennis is being seeked out by Teofimo Lopez. And the way I see this is, okay, at 35, Teofimo, Devin Haney, everybody, I remember so many live streams where people was talking about Teofimo fight Devin. I believe that as fight fans, we need to absolutely hold ourselves accountable and say that fight makes no sense. Now, look, being that it don't make sense, then you have to flip it over and treat it as ambiguous type of thought process. Why? Because it's two sides to it. The fight doesn't make sense, but it does make sense. Devin Haney is obviously Bill Haney is trying to get the fight with, Ryan Garcia, the fight that was supposed to happen if he was to defeat Rolly. That didn't happen. So now they're seemingly acting like it's out of the question now. No. That has backstory to it. At 135, Teo never had the opportunity. Well, he never took the opportunity to fight Devin Haney, which had the WBC title. But right now, he's locked in with a rematch. He needs to rematch. All the court case filings and shit, regardless of what Rolly did, we need to see the rematch. The fight card was mediocre. And, a lot of people felt that it was uninteresting, and we need to see that. But for Teofimo Lopez, I would definitely like to see him fight Ennis. I would like to see Ennis destroy Teo, for real. He's seeking out black fighters, right? Let Teo get the Philly work. A Philly steak and cheese. Extra cheese, man. Chop them up. Come on, Ennis, chop them up. Hey, I want to see the fight happen. Because it's nowhere in hell that you're going to catch me putting any money on Teofimo Lopez. It's not going to. I did it with Lomachenko, but Jaron Ennis is not Lomachenko. Okay? I truly believe that Ennis goes in here and get it done against Teo. And hopefully that fight's happen. I'm not going to take too much time on that because I want to get to my article. But yeah, let's hope that fight happen. I'd like to see Ennis go in there and get that work. Ennis and Teo go in there and get that work, and just so I can see Ennis, put them hands on Teo for real. So let's see how that plays out later on. I'm gonna touch briefly on Crawford and Canelo. A huge part of thinking about this fight was how many games that I would assume is going to be orchestrated, leading up to this fight, and it's already taken place. It's just extremely frustrating. At this point, as fight fans, we have low tolerance for the same, jamboree all the fucking time. All the time, man. We have to sit up here and have a big fight. And these boxing role players, shakers and movers, they always play games with the big fights, man. Nobody's trying to do that every single time. You don't find that with any other combat sport. Mixed martial arts, they make the fights. One championships, they make the fights and pull it out on the calendar. That's what they do. Here you go. The fights are out there on the calendar. There you go. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. No game plan, none of that. But with boxing, what do they think we are, man? Have you ever asked yourself that? Do they even consider us to be hardcore fight fans? The way I, assess this situation, it seems like these powers that be in boxing treat the entire fan base like casuals. You know why they treat us like casuals? Because we doing all this work pro bono, and they really the ones that can basically rearrange, switch, manipulate, influence, finesse whenever they freaking feel like it. They don't have to ask us. We have to ask them. We have to go on an X account and respond to them, and hopefully we get something back. Have you ever thought about that? Just process that, right? Do they even take us serious? I said this a while ago about the people that's on here that believes that getting all the views is going to change their life. This is a reminder, once again, when it comes down to the powers that be, the puppet masters, and we have a big fight in boxing, what do? They play the old switcheroo, man. Find the little bead under the cap. Every single time the shit happened with Crawford and Spence, the same shit with the fight was going to be this place, it ended up being that place and the other place, and then finally settled in with T-Mobile. They make damn sure that you're going to get your reservations at the last minute. How can ticket sales actively displayed on the sites? How can ticket sales be out for Allegiant Stadium, for Crawford and Spence, and then all of a sudden absolve, evaporate, vanish? How can Turkey come over here once again when I was trying to tell you all that he's up here doing shit for the fun of it? He's really playing, the fight fans like we're casuals, like we're no different than any other. Whenever, they send their people out here to gather information, to collect data on us, they're laughing. Because we up here on YouTube doing all this free work. We're like an ant colony. We just running around here talking, conversing, and they're sitting back and listening, and trying to determine another detour on how to throw it at us so they can see all these live streams go up and see what the reaction is from the fans. I mean, aren't y'all tired of that? I've been saying this shit for years, right? These cats are still talking about subscribers and views. But yet you got cats that treat everyone the same. when it comes to making these fight with boxing. Yeah, he might be giving them their highest paycheck. But we've been on here talking about Crawford Spence for who knows how long. And the fight has now been removed from Allegiant Stadium. And he said it's going to be either LA or New York, but puts out some info that said it can be 5 different locations. 5 different locations, yo. Where's that? What's that location supposed to be? Outside of New York and LA and Vegas. Where else is going to be? Dubai? Where is it going to be? Outside of the US? Are we sure we're going to get this fight? Because right now, you know, when Turkey initially made his introduction, just like anything else, they give you the low interest rate. But after after 6 months, that 2% that we gave you, that's going to be through the roof. Guaranteed. That's how Turkey's playing it. Turkey is absolutely playing games with us, man. Now that he's been in the game more than 6 months, been there a good solid year. You know, he's put out false information. You know, he's up there standing up in between fights, trying to influence the judges. And look, I was trying to explain this to people. When you sit up here and talk about all the criteria that boxing goes off of, this man is really sitting on the outside, standing up, walking around, influencing boxing. If that ain't corruption, you just blind and you just don't want to damn see no evil, bro. We're sitting up here halfway through May. And now, you know, conversing about, you know, trying to lock in lodging and stuff to go over there to see Crawford Canelo, and come to find out, we don't even know where the fight's going to be, bro. They gave us Errol Spence and Crawford. I guess Turkey saying that's enough. Hey, Turkey up here saying, hey, I gave you Madrimov and freaking Crawford. That's enough. I gave you Canelo Skull. That's enough. A huge part of me is saying that this fight between Crawford and Canelo may be outside of the U.S. Now, I don't see how Turkey's going to benefit from it. Like, I'm also hearing there's crossfire between Dana White and Turki Al-Sheikh. Once again, UFC, they put their schedule out there. They're not playing these stupid games. When I try to explain to people about Dana White as a whole started with boxing, you got too many of these casual boxing fans say they don't like Dana White. He ain't this, he ain't that, all because he has some choice words for boxing. Guess what? It should be more choice words for boxing. Because when we see the UFC, Bellator, PFL, their schedule is out. One championship, their schedule is out. Boxing has been struggling to associate the pieces. Just associate the pieces, man. All the pieces is there to the puzzle. Just put it all together for your annual calendar so we can know where these fights are going to be. Now, it's clear to all of us that for Turki Al-Sheikh, he hasn't been making money off these fights. He made no money off the damn Times Square fight. Nobody's talking about Belanga and you know, that'll catch fire just a little bit. You know, Belanga and Shiraz is catching fire, just a little spark here and there. You know what I'm saying? Just a little spark here and there. You know, it's not really somebody jumping through the roof, you know, trying to say, oh man, let me break my leg so I can be out of work just so I can go to the fight. They're not doing that. They're not taking those type of risk, but they will do it for Crawford Canelo. Turkey knows that. And what do? He removes the freaking fight. Turki Al-Sheikh removes the freaking fight from the goddamn the accessibility of fight fans over there in Vegas. Now, who wouldn't want to see that? But getting back to Dana White, the crossfire. Isn't Turkey the one who brought Dana White and Nick Khan in here to sign a 3-way contractual agreement between them for TKO Boxing Promotions. Now you're trying to plan a huge fight against Dana White's baby, UFC Noche. You're thinking boxing has priority over mixed martial arts when it comes to the UFC Ultimate Fighting Championship? You out your rabbit ass mind, bro. Y'all couldn't get on the phone and talk this out, that turkey. You think Dana, who has the Power Slap League, doesn't know what he's doing, fight fans? He absolutely knows what he's doing. He understands. He's been at the game. Just because he's signing to do some boxing with TKO and they want to go with the traditional weight classes. What is that saying? Who cares? So what, they want to go with the traditional weight classes? We have 17. That's 8 out of 17 weight classes, bro. None of y'all can give a damn about cruiserweight, bridgerweight. You can care less. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on. What are we talking about? Shout out to the chat. 3:30 in the building. What do they do, Square? Joseph Bailey in the building. What's good? What's good? Dan in the building. What's good with it, Dan? But you know what I'm saying to myself, you know, one of these individuals going to realize that Turkey is really playing a lot of us for a fool. He really playing a lot of us for a fool. It's just the mindset of these content creators on here. They'll speak about, you know, certain things, all the possibilities, the fantasies and all that may happen in the future. Cool. That's good convo, just not for me every day. I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling some type of way about him removing the fight with Canelo and Crawford. And though I want to go over here and, you know, do the Cinco de Crawford and do Operation No Mas, yeah, they haven't went nowhere. But when you take that down while the fighters are in fight camp and you leave the fans, the consumers, the one that's going to Turkey, that makes no sense to anyone. It definitely don't make no sense to me. You take all that away and leave us in limbo where we have to freaking rush. We have to damn near low call and sprint to the finish line to get reservations when we could have already had reservations done 3 months out, which the price is going to be way less than what it's going to be finding out 2 weeks before the fight. We're talking about plane tickets could have already been taken care of. Setting money aside, all that shit. Proper planning, right? But no, Turkey don't care, man. You know, he may be giving fighters some of their heaviest paydays. Good for him. But boxing is such a goddamn dirty whore. I swear to you. Boxing is a dirty asshole. I'm serious. Because every time you turn around, boxing is doing what you expect it to do. And that's be treated differently and treated like a tramp by everyone who has a hand on it. That's what boxing is for. That's what boxing has been for the longest of time. You know what I'm saying? Why can't we just have a calendar window where boxing is basically planned proactively, scheduled, everything, big fights. There's 12 in a calendar years, you know, through the simulation, and just plan like 6 big fights out of the year. Get the undercard that developed a little later, but get the main events and the co-main events taken care of, locked in, so we won't have to go through this shit. Because Dana White, the UFC Noche on the same day, what's the point of that? What are you trying to do? You trying to slide a blade down without him seeing it? Come on, Dana White been in the game too long for that shit. What are you doing, Turkey? You can't have one of UFC's biggest cards, and you think you're gonna go head up just because it's Crawford Canelo? And you boxing fans, stop believing that Canelo can sit up here and draw numbers anytime he feel like it, even if it goes up against a UFC card. No, he cannot. Them MMA fans are cut from different cloths, and they are used to basically hitting the schedule up, locking in their reservations, and going to their destination. Boxing fans, we're the ones out here scrambling, not to our no culpability of our own, but we are here scrambling, trying to find out what the powers to be, what decision and what direction they're going to be in. We got to guess what they're trying to do. What's the purpose of purchasing Mike Coppinger's account if you're going to put out fake information? Look at the debilitation, the declivity of this shit, right? Why purchase Mike Coppinger's account and have him do interviews, and he is worse than if we was to have Big Bird give an interview in full uniform, the same voice, everything. What about Cookie Monster? I think his interviews, Mike Coppinger's interviews, is worse than Cookie Monster giving an interview, bro. Stuffing cookies in the mouth and talking. Shakur said it. Shakur said, "This is your third take. You are the worst." What did WCS tell you all? I said the same thing. I said Mike Coppinger is like a robot. He can't give a damn interview. He just asked the same shit. Hey, what you a knockout? Let's go back to the sparring between Ryan Garcia and Rolly. Yeah, let's get to the sparring. Bro, for you to have an account that was purchased, you really seem like you don't know enough. I don't want to say you don't know shit about boxing, but it seems like you don't know enough to be in the position that you're in. I'm going to leave that right there. Let's get to this article. Shout out to Conquest, man. He dropped the article. Let me transition out of this Crawford Canelo bullshit. Shout out to Operation No Mas. But I really want to read this article, man. I thought it was very informative. Truth be told, let me take down Tank's thumbnail. It says rigged or ranked people, the politics behind boxing, top spots. And once again, Conquest shot me this on the DM. Fight fans, pay attention. This is a very well-written article. I like how they didn't apply too much salt to it, even though they're talking about a very potent, rigged, ranked. You know, WCS has been on there, and I tell you straight up, if I say that I feel that the fight has been fixed, you know, rigged and all that stuff, hey, I'll let you know. The politics is very inclusive to rigging or the corruption that goes on in boxing. Okay. This article was written by Billy Sloan, IFL TV. Very well written article. If you please bear with me, be patient. Ask 10 boxing fans who the real number one is in any given division, and you might get 10 different answers. Not because they all see the sport different, but because the ranking themselves often feel like a bad joke. In a perfect world, rankings would reflect merit, wins, performances, activity, opposition, sporting logic. Instead, boxing gives us a mess, y'all. A mess of conflicting lists, suspect search, and mysterious disappearances, bro. Fighters leapfrogging others without fighting. I've had these content creators talk about bylaws and all that other. I will circle you like a carousel, goddammit. Viciously. If you try to throw some paperwork that these sanctioning bodies live by when they continue to screw fighters over and make it all about money. Don't come kick that politics shit because you have a community of people that's your echo chamber. That's one thing I know about the hottest chat in the game. They're not echoing shit. They pretty much know what the boxing is, and if they want to respond to it, they have the option in how they want to. It goes on to say, fighters leapfrog others without fighting. Champions defend against opponents no one's heard of. A guy who hasn't fought in a year still somehow sits in the top 5. Ooh, facts, shawty. It goes on to say, so let's ask the uncomfortable question. Are rankings built on competition or on connections? The order of illusion. I mean, the illusion of order. Come on, y'all. The illusion of order. It goes on to say, at first glance, rankings offer a sense of structure, a ladder for continues to climb. They suggest that if a fighter keeps winning, they earn a title shot. Let's be fair. And to be fair, that's sometimes true. We've seen prospects grind through the domestic circuit, then rise through the ranks with statement wins. Fighters like Teofimo Lopez, Naoya Inoue, Dimitri Bivol proved their worth the hard way. But too often, that's not the norm. It's the expectation. Because for every fighter clawing up on merit, there's another being parachuted and through a promotional muscle. This article is fire. Promoters, politics, and padded records, y'all. And you know well as I do, that is the staple. If you've never known it in your life, you know it tonight. That has been the staple of boxing templates. Okay? That is absolutely perfecto. Promoters, the ones who are politicking, and the format for which the politics work off of are padded records. Let's not dance around it. Rankings are frequently influenced by who signs your checks. You understand? Rankings are frequently influenced by who signs your check, not no freaking who's going to be the mandatory and none of that other shit that goes on. It's all politics, money. It's all conversation, sidebars, table talks. A promoter with the right connection can get their guy into the top 15 of a sanctioned body with a couple of regional titles and a few strategic wins. The fighter might never have faced a world level opponent, but with the right packaging and enough international belts, suddenly they're a mandatory challenger. And you want to respect Mandy's? That just goes to show you the ranking is all about politics. Who has to connect? Who can link up? Who's in the network? Who's at the top of the COC? Who is the priority go to when the phone ring? They're not really talking about creating mandatories. It's all about, oh, can we make this fight? Can we make that fight? Who has the money? Who can slide this envelope? It's all about the arrangement. Remember that. Meanwhile, the guy who been in the trenches, beating top 10 opposition and taking risks, he sat on the sidelines wondering how someone who never fought a top 30 opponent got the title shot he's been chasing for 3 years. Why? Because one fighter signed to the right promoter and the other's not. Let's not forget how murky things get when multiple sanctioning bodies, the WBA, WBC, IBF, and the WBO, each have their own rankings, their own rules, and in some cases, their own political agendas, y'all. There's no unified standard. That means fighters can be number one in one organization and completely unranked in the other. That is factual. Shout out to Billy Sloan in the building. His pen is on fire. I don't know what he was sipping on, if any, or what he had before he wrote this article, but it's simply stating the facts. It goes on. It's chaos with the spreadsheet. Lack of transparency, lack of trust. And here's the real killer. Fans see through it. The moment a fighter appears in a top 10 without earning it, or when a governing body magically elevates someone just before a big money fight, fans feel it. Hottest chat. Isn't he just hammering the shit out of that nail? I mean, have you seen so many strikes that hit right on when it comes to understanding? He's saying a lot of things that has validity. This happens right in front of our face. It happens. The top 10 without earning it. Or when the governing body magically elevates someone just before a big fight. We see it all the time. But we want to talk about Gustavo, the WBO, who said they fight who again? What was his term again? Ranked opposition or rated opposition, whatever his thing was for his fighters, moving up the ranking system. The trust erodes. Legitimacy cracks. Because rankings are supposed to reflect who's next in line. But when they're used as marketing tools instead of merit-based lists, the sport loses credibility. Now, I've always speak about boxing not having or being recognized as a single mass associated with a sport. Like, yes, you have athletes who participate in boxing, but boxing doesn't have an organization or governing body or some type of, structure that, some of these controversial fights, some of these referees and judges can be held accountable or reprimanded. None of that. It's just an open-ended, free-for-all buffet of corruption. That's what it is. It's a buffet of corruption. You can learn a lot. And let's be real. How many fans actually believe that everyone in the sanctioning body's top 15 could beat the guy ranked 16th or 17th? He's on fire. How many could even survive 3 rounds with the number one contender from another organization? He's on fire. He's on fire. Yo, Billy, don't you lose my number. Isn't that what Phil Collins said? If you want the scoop, you call up Billy. Billy got the scoop. So who really deserves the top spot? That's the maddening part. Sometimes we know. The eye tests tell us. The resume tell us. The fights tell us. But the rankings, they tell us something else. This guy his target practice is all in the black. This guy has been spot on. Bullseye. One of the best articles written. One of the best articles written in a long time to encapsulate what we're dealing with right here, right now in the sport of boxing. And it's no huge grandeur words. This is simple shit, straight to the point. This was on my mind, and this is what I know. Goes on to say, they tell us who's connected, who's managed carefully, who's more valuable to the business than to the sport. And yet fighters still chase those rankings because flawed as they are, they're still the golden ticket. A top 15 spot makes you eligible for a title. A top 5 ranking puts your name in the conversation. That little number next to a fighter's name can change their life. But when that number is bought, not earned, what does it really mean? Fixing the ladder. A WCS always calls this a ladder. Only fighter that I've gave a true live stream on about the ranking systems was Ennis. Hey, I just seen a lot back then on how he made it through the rankings. It wasn't mesmerizing. It'll put you in like a state of I want to do a bit more discovery on this. It's too much fog of war that's going on. Like, when you have the fog of war, you have them smoke grenades. Those of you that know what I'm talking about, and the whole point of throwing those smoke grenades is to advance your position. That's what I feel happens in the ranking system. It's a lot of smoke being thrown around, and fighters are being shuffled up the ladder. They was on rung 14, but when the smoke clears, somehow they had rung 11. Then give them another month or two with a little bit more smoke, you find them at 7. Now they inside the top 10. And just like Billy said, when you get that number next to you, your life changes. It can change your life depending on who you are. And that's what we're dealing with right now. The hocus pocus of boxing. This is exactly, look, reading this article made me want to write an article. It makes me want to go out here and once again, put my thoughts together and write an article because I know I can. But I want to give Billy Sloan his credit. This article summarized so much of what us as boxing fans are going through right now. It is absolutely retarded. For real. This boxing game right here, it is absolutely special ed. And the reason why I say they treat us like we're special ed kids. They do. They just throw shit out there. If you throw something, let's just say for instance, right? Let's just say for instance, if you grab the turtle and took it in a special ed class and put it on the table in front of the students, you're gonna get a whole lot of noise. That turtle's gonna be sitting there like, damn, this is what I'm at in life. Damn, you could have took me somewhere else, so I can goddamn at least feel enthusiastic. They're gonna be making noise. They're gonna say, ooh, okay. You take it to a public classroom, the turtle may not make it out that bitch. For real. Because, today they'll take that turtle and smash it on the floor. You're going to get a whole different reaction. Real talk. It's going to be a different reaction. And that's what I'm saying. Like, Turkey understands that we know about boxing, but the way them cats live internally within the networking corridors, you know what I'm saying? Those networking corridors of theirs, they don't work in cubicle spaces. It's much larger than that. The phone calls that they be having, the whole team that has to go through the admin logistics, the future planning team, all the PR, all that. You think they're not sitting in there laughing and joking about certain things that they have to get permission to do? And they're granted permission to put this info out there just to rattle us for a whole nother 2 months so you can get the people now that's out here saying, Crawford, Canelo, yeah, once again, it ain't happening. But see, these are human beings we're talking about. These are humans who've been following the sport for quite some time, right? Wouldn't you say? We've been following the sport for quite some time. So if Turkey takes the fight away again, and you cats go out here and do a live stream on it, then what does that say about your competency? Are you competent enough to understand when you're being played in this boxing game? Or are you just willing to have something to do that's recreational to your life, that adds value to your life? If that's the case, okay, then just say it so your listeners wouldn't take you serious. But don't come over here and make a big deal to my, oh man, Turkey, I told you it's weight classes for a reason. And Crawford Canelo's not happening. Man, that's not it. It's business, politics, all the finessing comes from those who write the checks. As it says right here, promoters, politics, and padded records. That has always been a 3-step process for boxing if you want to just place the lens on that. It's always been about the P, the next P, and the final P. Promoters, politics, and padded records, y'all. If that ain't well said, I don't know what is. The ranking systems allow fighters to climb the ladder. Can you imagine how many fighters call their manager and say, hey, how so-and-so get in front of me? I haven't even fought my fight yet. How can you have me up at number 9 and then all of a sudden I'm in training camp for my fight, right? I have a fight in September, but I'm ranked number 9. I'm training for my fight in September and I end up dropping out the top 10. I haven't even fought yet. And I have a guy that's very unfamiliar that removes me out the top 10. And you say to yourself, how is that possible? That is a huge question. That is a straight up dilemma. It's very touchy, huh? Very controversial. I'm not gonna hold you. It really plays your thought process and how you feel about boxing in an institution. Okay, notice I say institution. I didn't put a prefix on it because I don't want to piss nobody off, but it places you in an institution. It can be an institution of learning. You know what I'm saying? It can be a mental institution. It really allows you to value your institution when it comes to the boxing game. Too many games are being played. Not enough people are taking responsibility, nor can we hold them accountable for fucking around with us. We talked about Spence Crawford for years. And Turkey Al-Sheikh wasn't on the scene. Now that he's on the scene, what I see him doing is pretty much he's taking us down an express lane. Turkey is gonna fuck us over and help us start arguing with one another and go out here and do live streams and make this Crawford Canelo fight as controversial as it is. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I believe Turkey removed that fight after the Williams Skull so people can start just talking and see what the reaction is. Because Canelo Alvarez, what did y'all remember when I said Canelo, what if he goes in there and sabotage the fight? But when I said it, I said I can't see him sabotaging where he lose. But a lot of people thought that Canelo looked very antiquated. You know what I'm saying? He looked old. He looked like he was past his prime. I can't say he sabotaged the fight, but what Turkey do? Turkey want people to forget about what happened with Skull. He want to wait, and then bring this fight back up so it can have the renewed shock value to it. That's what I believe Turkey is trying to do. He's trying to keep it off the map a little bit. Let it get through some rainy days, some sunshine. You know what I'm saying? Let it continue to just go through some mornings and evenings. You know, some moons. Let some moons drop. Then he's going to revisit it. Anchor it back on the surface for conversation. Then and only then we'll find out where the fuck this fight is going to be. Okay? That's where I'm at with it. That's where I'm at with it. But I do appreciate, and y'all be sure to go over there and check out that article, the Billy Sloan column, Rigged or Ranked, IFL TV. Mad article, man. I like it. I like this article. One of the best articles I've read in the past 5 years. and it wasn't even as in depth. No supererogatory terms in there, no anagrams. It wasn't anything too over the top. It was just kicking strict basic knowledge as to what we're dealing with as fight fans. We're dealing with these scenarios. We're dealing with the tip of the spear, but not in a way that the spear is in there to anchor a new fight. No, we're dealing with the tip of the spear because he keep on goddamn throwing it at us. We keep on being hit by the spear and bleeding out. Shit, by the time the fight is announced, man, we'll be paying through medical bills, bro. For real, just let us know what the real shit is. But it's like this with me. I will be back. I'm not sure. I've been quite busy. But as always, I always want to give a big shout out to my chat, man. The hottest chat in the game. Nobody else is going to say that because they don't fuck with their chat. But I fuck with my chat. If I say some shit that I don't have, the information I don't have, I say shit wrong, I guarantee the chat will correct. Quality over quantity any day of the week. That's never going to change. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to the hottest chat in the game on deck, supporting. I appreciate y'all. Haynes Legacy, prayers still go out for you, big dog. Real talk. Wish you nothing but love, man. I hope you get better each and every day. Hopefully everyone else is doing quite well in their lives, man. You know, it's about to be Sunday. So I'm going to go over here. Let me see. I'm going to go back over here and see if B-Mac's still on. He should be on. B-Mac usually stay on, folks. Yeah. I'm about to shut down and go back over here on the Mac Mob. I'm glad to see my boy is back on the scene. Until next time, man, y'all hold it down. Peace.